The essential understanding for this lesson is two-dimensional shapes can be combined to make new two-dimensional shapes. Previously, students combined two-dimensional shapes to create larger two-dimensional shapes. In this lesson, students combine two-dimensional shapes to make more complex two-dimensional shapes that are pictures of real-world objects. For this problem, provide students with pattern blocks. This problem is key because students are asked to use pattern blocks to help them combine two-dimensional shapes to make a picture of a boat. Listen and look for students who combine 2 or 3 pattern blocks to make a small boat, and then trace around the shapes to show the picture. Assure these students that they have solved the problem correctly, but encourage them to think about how they could use other shapes and a greater number of shapes to make an even larger picture of a boat. Ask these students what shapes they would expect to see on a boat. Then remind them that not all boats look the same, so there are many ways to make a boat with pattern blocks. Listen and look for other students who combine pattern blocks in a different way to make a boat, and then trace the shapes to show the picture. Listen for some of these students to explain how they decided what shapes to use. For example, they may explain that they used a triangle and a parallelogram to make the slanted ends of the boat, and the square to make the flat roof of the boat. Both groups of students demonstrate that they are building an understanding of how to combine two-dimensional shapes to make new two-dimensional shapes that are pictures of real-world objects. In later lessons, students extend this work to three-dimensional geometry as they combine solid shapes to make larger shapes.
You can use shapes to make pictures. You can use these shapes to make a house. What are the names of the shapes used to make this house? A triangle and a square. Which shape is the roof of the house? The triangle is the roof of the house. Could the triangle be placed on the sides or bottom of the square? Explain. No, the triangle needs to be on top. The triangle is the roof, and the roof is on the top of a house. You can add shapes to change the picture. You can add these shapes to the house. How is this house different from the first house? This house is larger. How many shapes were added to the first house to make this house? 2 shapes were added. When shapes are added, does the house become smaller or larger? The house becomes larger. You can use these shapes to make the house even larger. How is this house different from the second house? It is larger and taller. How many shapes were added to the second house to make this house? 2 more orange squares were added. Here are more pictures you can make. This picture looks like a sun or a flower. This picture is a plane or a fish. This picture is a cat. What shapes were used to make the cat? The cat is made from triangles, hexagons, and squares. How many of each shape were used? 10 squares, 1 hexagon, and 2 triangles.
Now you know about building with 2D shapes.